Cafe anyway. Hey.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Here we are. And it's episode 2563, 2563. Mike Matthews here at the last place.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
On Earth Cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. And this is what I sing about, and I like to stop and then I start and I can't think of any words that come straight from my heart. Oh wait, we talked all about hearts.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Lately with the whole Valentine's thing. Love.
Mike's
Well,
Daily.
did you see the podcast picture
Podcast?
for my last podcast?
Yeah.
Which was called Sonar. And it was a picture of this really cool place. I think it's called Off the Hook. It's on the Halifax River in Daytona Beach in the, I think they call it Inlet Harbor. And even in the midst of all the craziness a year ago, when my mom passed away and we had to go back to Florida to take care of everything, we got to spend a little bit of time at some of the local restaurants there. And, you know, it's just the thing of making the best out of a bad situation. We traveled all that way and we're here. It was also my lovely lady friend's birthday around that time. Oh, everything was happening at once. Valentine's Day, my lovely lady friend's birthday, Super Bowl. A bunch of stuff at work was going on. But this year I am embracing a slightly calmer time, even though we're concerned about things floating around in the air up above that are from China. Balloons. Sending us balloons. Where are the balloons? But this year is a little bit better, but last year we made the best of it, and I got a good picture out of it, and you can see.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It at MikesDailyPodcast.com. But today's podcast picture, I'm going to go with something recently. I'm not sure what it is yet, but you'll see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And maybe it'll be the stray cat that we have that haunts our patio here, and Rocky the kitten, who's not on my lap today. Rocky's domesticated, Patches is not, and they kind of tend to war with each other in a playful way. And the late great Basil the Boxer would not put up with any of this. He would say no to this. You've got to stay away from cats, Mike. Well, it's not like he hated cats. He was just fascinated. He wanted to chase them. Occasionally, one would come up to him and smack him in the face. If we'd go on a walk, there'd be a cat that'd come up and go, you know, those really idiotically stupid, overly brave cats would come up to Basil and smack him in the face, which I advise cats not to do that. And Patches, the stray cat, has not done that, I don't think. That's why he survived all this time. But Americans are expected to watch more digital video. What? What's digital video? Isn't all video digital? Well, I'm talking more YouTube, TikTok, and Hulu versus linear television this year. A daily intake of 3 hours and 11 minutes of digital video, streaming, and social video. That's what digital video refers to. Not that anyone else is going to know that. I told you and me know that, nobody else. But apparently more people are into TikTok, YouTube, Hulu than regular television. And that is no surprise. And with traditional linear television, they watch just under 3 hours. So I guess it's not too crazy a difference. They're both around 3 hours, but I know I cut the cord. I've been watching internet, and though my internet, the cost for my to have my internet has gone up substantially. And that is very annoying. And somebody told me today, Mike, that's why you got to have kids. Because if you have kids, it's only like $10 a month for internet. Thank you, Michelle Obama. But darn it, I don't have kids. I have this cat. I have 2 cats. But not the... Well, speaking of other streaming services, Paramount Plus plans are going to increase $1 per month. Paramount Plus has hit 56 million subscribers. There's nothing on there that grabs me. Not even the Star Trek stuff. But it's got NFL Sunday games. It's got Yellowstone and Criminal Minds. So that's what makes it big. Jeff Bezos has a yacht that's $500 million, and it finally hit the open water. It's 417 feet long, and this week it is undergoing sea trials. It is set to be the biggest sailing yacht in the world once it's finished. What makes it a difference? Why don't we just call it a cruise ship? Why don't we just call it a ship instead of a yacht? I don't know. So the debt crisis is... It's not something to dismiss. Consumer debt has broken a record now. It has hit $16.9 trillion. That is up $1.3 trillion as delinquencies are rising as well. You should not get into debt. Oh, Mike, easy for you to say. Well, live within your means. Every financial expert will tell you that. I'm not a financial expert, but it just makes common sense. I try to be a common sense expert. The stuff that I say to people, I have to follow with the footnote, a very loud footnote, and stomp my foot and say common sense. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast. Somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway.
And let's see what else. Americans want a vacation this year. That seems to be a headline every year. But apparently, airline prices are going higher, and potential recession, it may have folks steering clear of travel right now. But the mounting stress drove people to vacation anyway. Airbnb said that their cross-border trips surged almost by 50% last quarter. And China's loosening COVID restrictions made travel from the Asian Pacific region the real big grower in the last quarter. People are ditching longer, quieter trips in favor of shorter days in bustling cities. Interesting. They want the action. They want the experiences. The bigger picture is that more vacationers want active experiences, and Airbnb is planning to invest in products beyond its main accommodation services again, giving renewed attention to offerings like experiences included guided local excursions for travelers. I'll give you one better. When we were in Mount Shasta, in the Mount Shasta area, back in, was that October or September last year, one of the things we did, and I talked about it on the podcast, was we met a horse that was connected to a 7th dimension unicorn in the 7th dimension. And this horse supposedly could make your energy, with his energy, could make your energy better and more clear, and you'd be happier. And the name of the horse was Doc Happy. And the story, the description I read on the podcast, go back to September and October, listen to those podcasts, and you'll hear it was one of those. But the description on Airbnb was hilarious. And my lovely lady friend was laughing her head off and saying, "Oh, that's so Shasta." But we actually did it. We went and we met this horse and this horse's mom. And we fed them and we spent time with them, and it was quiet. It was just us. It was beautiful countryside, no cars, really quiet. Kind of like the sound behind me now here outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. And it was rejuvenating, very rejuvenating. I don't know what about it, what it was. I love animals. Being around these two really kind animals really helped me. And then after that, we got in a car, drove to Ashland, Oregon. That was a long drive. You got to go through the hills, the mountains, and it's a drive. Beautiful scenery. Do it during the day so you can see the scenery. And in Ashland, that was beautiful. Lots of restaurants, lots of nice people, beautiful buildings. I want to put a picture in from Ashland. How about that? No, I'll do something more recent, because Ashland was several months back. When we get to the anniversary of us going there, I'll put that in the podcast picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. So this is interesting. Hertz Rent-A-Car and the oil giant BP have a plan to install thousands of chargers in major cities for use by Hertz customers and the general public. Ford is installing DC fast chargers at almost 2,000 of the company's dealerships. EVs are taking off. EV charging stations are popping up everywhere. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I heard today that if you are charging your car in California with our crazy high PG&E rates, you're actually paying more than if you bought a gallon of gas or, a tank of gas. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm likely to believe it because my PG&E bill has gone through the roof it's tripled. It's tripled, and I try and do things like there's a way where you can get the gas purchased by a third party and it's cheaper. It's very difficult. I can't find a straightforward explanation anywhere on the PG&E website, but you can do that, and that allows you to maybe save some money. There's also the care plan that they have, CARE. I forget what that stands for, but that helps you if you've got if it's too expensive and you make a certain amount, you can work that out. It helps you out. But still, this is how it is. I mean, it's expensive. Electricity is expensive here. Gas got more expensive, but there are apparently 2,000 fast chargers at Pilot and Flying J centers along U.S. highways. I found it very interesting at the time that we drove up to Shasta, and I have a gas-powered car. There's a Pilot and a Flying J on Highway 5 that usually the gas is so cheap. My jaw drops when I see how cheap it is. It was actually more expensive at Pilot and Flying J than it was in Podcastro Valley at that time. I don't know if that's changed since then, but Joe Biden apparently had nice things to say about Elon Musk, even though Elon Musk is definitely on a conservative trajectory and placating all of Trump's fans by putting him back on Twitter. But Biden praised Musk for promising to open 7,500 Tesla chargers to other EVs by the end of 2024. So not just Tesla. It's interesting. How do you square that circle when you're a staunch Trump supporter, conservative, and you've got this guy who makes electric cars? And electric cars, that's sort of an affront. It was for many years an affront to people that were more conservative. They're more about, drill, baby, drill. Let's get lots of gas out of the ground. I don't know. But these days, I'm willing to hear from people on both sides. And I try not to be. When I was younger, I was definitely more of an activist, more about like, oh, that side is wrong. That side is definitely wrong. But as I got older, I realized, well, wavy. I said wavy, which was a word that didn't exist until I actually said it. Wavy people have, if they bring their differing points of views together, they can actually create better ideas if they're not tearing each other's clothes off. No, wait. If they're not tearing at each other's throats, if they're not ripping each other's hair out. I don't know what kind of violent imagery I was going with there. Maybe you know. Give me a call, 510-228-4640, 510-228-4640. There was a song I used to like by John Mellencamp. It was on his Scarecrow album. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Later, Aaron Tippin would do a song that did well on the country charts. You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything, which is true. But be careful that what you stand for isn't completely so myopic. Oh, that took all my energy to say that word, myopic. But wow, I think that's what I was trying to say was, you need to make sure that your ears are open. God gave you, have you heard this expression? God gave you one mouth, but he gave you 2 ears and 2 eyes. So you need to look and listen before you talk. Myopic. Don't be that. Okay. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, the last place on earth. I didn't want to get too political on today's podcast. I kind of did that recently, and it left me feeling awful, and I had to go take a bath. Look who's here. Hello, Michael Masters, Madame Rootabega. All of these things are fascinating. Oh, yes, Madame Rootabega. Do you like the word myopic? Yes. Do you like friendly horses that can cleanse your energy that surrounds your body? Yes. Do you think that those balloons are listening to our conversation? No, they aren't. Neither is anybody else. Nobody listens to this podcast. Oh, well. The Daily Wire said, in order to solve a problem, the first step is to acknowledge that you have one. For the Biden administration, that means admitting that China is an enemy of the United States. Yet despite the Chinese Communist Party's affront to American sovereignty via spy balloons and other intrusions. So wait, didn't they say today that some of those crafts, balloons and whatnot in the sky were not Chinese? Well, Vice President Kamala Harris still views the Red Dragon, China, is I guess what they're referring to, the Daily Wire, as a respected challenger of the U.S. instead of a political threat. Fox News says Kamala made the comments in a Tuesday interview with Politico, arguing the U.S. seeks competition with China, not conflict or confrontation. Let me stop right there and say, I believe it was a couple Super Bowls ago when a certain Bill O'Reilly was interviewing a certain president named Donald J. Trump, whatever. So he's interviewing the president, and he says the conversation turned to Russia, and Russia was like, well, I mean, Trump was like, I think it'd be better to be friends with China, with Russia than not be friends. And Biden said, but they're a horrible country. But Putin, maybe they were talking specifically about Putin. He's like, Putin, he's a war criminal. He's awful. This is Bill O'Reilly saying this. And Trump's like, well, America's done a lot of bad things. It's not like we're, pristine and we're saints.
President Putin was extremely strong and powerful.
So basically, that's a complete opposite of what conservatives are saying now. And that is that China, you can't be friends with China. No, you can be friends with Russia, but not with China. I don't get that. I don't get that circle being squared at all. It didn't make sense to me just then when it came out of my mouth. But apparently that is what is being said by Kamala Harris. And if we actually say the sentence, maybe she is trying not to create create conflict. Maybe that's a feasible thing. Oh, but she needs to show more strength and actually create conflict and create a war. What? I don't know. But Kamala says, I don't think so, no. She said regarding whether relations might be affected, many lawmakers on Capitol Hill have expressed outrage at China's willingness to infringe on U.S. sovereignty. Biden himself has yet to address the nation following the shoot down of China's balloon and 3 other incidents. Actually, no, he has addressed that. The U.S. military shot down objects over Alaska. Anyway, that was from Cafe Anyway Fox News. And their whole reason for being on this planet is to make sure Biden is a one-term president and that no Democrat is ever elected again. That is their mission statement. So take whatever they say with a grain of salt. Outside of Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley where there might be some salt in this ground below me, I don't know. I haven't checked. I haven't done a soil analysis. But someone who has maybe created a soil analysis or two in his life, I don't know what this intro is. I'm not good at intros, I have to tell you. So anyway, it's look who's here. Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant. And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Were you trying to make some kind of joke about soiling? Something like Soylent Green? Soil's a funny word there. Yeah, soil. Do you know that? I like Myopic better, but you can tell me what you think at 510-228-4640, 510-228-4640. I need to get going. It's been a long day. Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. That sounds about right. And with more ways to reach me, it's A-Frame.
Produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.